Hello everyone, Sabrina here from Scrappy Tails Crafts, and today I have a sneak peek of our new Midsummer Night's Dream collection that's going to be coming out this Friday on June 4th. So I'm going to be using this 4x4 stamp set from the release called Fairy Girl, and I'm going to be using this hot foil plate called Fairy Dust Swirl. So that is one of our new product lines. We are introducing hot foil plates. I am very excited about that. I have been foiling on almost all of my cards lately. So when I heard that foiling could become a major trend this year and well into next year, I knew I wanted to get in on that early. So here I'm kind of planning out my card on my Misty. I want to have that swirl in the background and have the girl kind of looking up at the stars. And this girl is a really nice size. She's about 4 inches wide and maybe 2 3/4 inches tall. So I thought she would fit perfectly on a 5 1/4 by 5 1/4 inch square card. So originally I thought I would stamp her directly onto a 5x5 panel, but I ended up wanting that white outline from the die, so I'm going to end up die cutting her, but you can definitely make this into a 1-layer scene if you want. This is a pretty easy image to fussy cut from masking paper, but I did stamp that image out twice to get a really nice impression, and then I'm going to start Copic coloring her. I did stamp her out with Memento Tuxedo black ink, and I'm going to use some purple markers to color her in. And I'll be honest, I chose purple because those are the markers I use the least amount, and they're really the only markers that I have juice for. All my other markers are pretty dry. So what's really cool about this image is her wings are so big, and I really wanted to make her wings transparent. So all I did was make her shirt darker and her wings lighter using the same markers. I just eliminated the two darker ones from her shirt, which were BV17 and BV13. And I'm going to start with BV11, which was my lightest marker. And you can see the way I drew this image is so that you can see her shirt through her wings. So I was imagining this fairy to have transparent wings. So I'm going to use the BV11 and kind of map out my shadow areas, and I'm basically just following the outline of the image. There really isn't, at least I don't know where a light source would be on transparent images. I don't know what areas would be darker, so I just went in and outlined the whole image with my darkest marker, and then I will go in with my mid-tone and just extend that color out. And the way that these ended up looking transparent is because you can still see the shirt through the wings, which is obviously darker. Now, I think it would be really cool to do like a purple shirt and a pink wing or a blue wing, but I was a little bit nervous that this wouldn't look good, so I went tone on tone. But definitely when I color this image again, I'm going to do 2 different colors. You're just going to want to make sure that you don't go with complementary colors. So you wouldn't want to do like a red shirt with green wings, because where those colors intersect, they're going to create a really ugly green that looks kind of brownish. So definitely pick colors that go well together but aren't complementary, if that makes sense. And now I'm just going in with my BV00 and filling in all those white areas. I kind of wish I left some of the areas of the wing white, but I think it still turned out really nice. Now I went with a dark purple shirt and light purple wings because I was a little bit scared that I wouldn't like how the transparent effect looked. But now that I've tried it, I really want to do a contrasting color. So I would do like a purple shirt and a pink wing. You just want to make sure when you do that, you want to avoid complementary colors. Otherwise, where they meet in that area of the shirt and the wings, you're going to get an ugly mix. I don't think they'll necessarily turn brown because Copic markers are transparent, but it's not going to be a pretty color. So basically, I wouldn't do like a red shirt and a green wing, if that makes sense. Okay, anyway, what's great about this little image, and part of the reason why I illustrated it, is because I wanted to help people learn coloring techniques. The first one being the transparent wings, the second being hair. I remember what pushed me to buy Copic markers was watching people color hair. I can watch people color hair for hours and hours. I think Copic markers give you that realistic hair texture by flicking the marker. So you can see I started with my darkest marker and I flicked towards the center of her hair from her roots and also from her little flower headband and all the little dark crevices of her braid. That's where I added the dark marker. Then I flicked my mid-tone, again starting from the top of her roots, going towards the center. And then I just finished off with my lightest marker, and I did leave a little bit of white space to add some dramatic highlights. So I think this one is a really fun image to color, especially if you're new to Copics and you want to learn those techniques. This is one you can just stamp over and over again. It's not super large where it's going to take a really long time to color, but it's also not really small where you can't add, 3 color blends. All right, so she does have a little flower crown, so I'm just going in and coloring the roses, and then I will add the leaves. And the headband is pretty small, so I'm just using 2 colors for the roses and the leaves. And there is a coordinating die for this little stamp set, so I'm going to use that to cut her out. And then I'm going to start working on the background for my card. Okay, so I have another 5x5 square, and originally I wanted to create a night sky. So I was just going to use some different blues, which were Chip Sapphire, Blueprint Sketch, and Salty Ocean. I ended up not liking the dark blue background with the purple fairy. I felt like I needed more color. So you're going to see after I blend all the blues, I'm going to go back in and add some purple and pink to the sky to create more of a galaxy background instead. So I'm just starting with my darkest ink, which is Chip Sapphire, and then I think I skip Blueprint Sketch and just go right into Salty Ocean. And here's where I decide, okay, this is looking really dark, even though I did want a night sky. I just felt like my fairy blended in, even with that white outline of the die cut. And I also wanted to incorporate more purple into the background. So here's where I decide, yeah, it still looks nice, I think, but I thought a galaxy would be pretty cool. So here is Seedless Preserves, and I'm also going to add Picked Raspberry, which you don't really have to because it's going to blend with the blue and create a very similar color as the Seedless Preserves, but it's a little bit lighter. And I unintentionally kind of created a swirl in the sky, which matches the swirl foil plate that I'm about to add. I'm going to go back in because I now want the galaxy. I have to add a little bit more darker color, and this is always where I get a little bit nervous, but you really need that to create that like nebula galaxy look. So I'm going back in with Chip Sapphire and Black Soot and just kind of selectively placing that darker color while still allowing the brighter colors to peek through. I'll clean off my glass mat, and this is where it really looks like a galaxy. It also kind of looks like, what is that called? Like the borealis that you see in Alaska. So here I have my pearlescent watercolor and a paintbrush, and I'm just splattering it onto the background. If you want brighter stars, you can use white acrylic paint, but I really love the shine of the pearlescent watercolor. So now I'm going to go ahead and foil the star swirl. So I have my Gemini hot press heated up. I added the swirl in the panel towards the top. And look, when I peel it away, isn't that just gorgeous? I used silver foil, and what's really fun about this foil set is that some of the stars will actually die cut. Now, it is perfectly fine to do this in your Gemini hot foil press. It says actually on the machine that if you want to use a cutting edge or a die cut in the machine, you have to make sure that the blades are facing up, like right here. They're facing up. I do want to add a little bit more to the left side of this panel, so I'm just using a scrap of foil and replacing my panel to run it through my Gemini. Now, I did read if you have the glimmer, it will not die cut. It will only do that with the Gemini foil press because it has more pressure in the machine. So you can see I'm just punching out the stars, and some of them, like I said, will leave that foiled impression and some will cut. And I love that about this little die slash foil. I guess it's like a 2-for-1. But yes, do know that if you have the Spellbinder's Glimmer, it will not cut the stars. Instead, it will foil them, and it'll be more of like a star outline foil. So I thought that was kind of interesting. I do want to purchase the Glimmer just to kind of compare the two. I really love the Gemini one because, like I said, it does cut, but some people might not want it to cut. So it's definitely a little bit different than the Glimmer. And the Glimmer does not work in the Gemini, and the Gemini I don't think works in the Spellbinder's machines. So just keep that in mind if you are kind of deciding to purchase one of these machines. I'm pretty sure they each go with their own die cutting machines. All right, so I'm going to make this card light up. So I have some Pear Blossom Press lights, and I'm going to use one for this card. And what's cool is that the battery has 3 lights attached, so 3 areas of the card is going to light up. And basically the way you assemble a light up card is first adding vellum behind your cutouts. So that's what I did behind the open stars. And here I'm trying to figure out where I want the battery to be. I decided on that top right corner. And then here I'm just kind of picking out the stars I want to have light up. I'll go ahead and glue the battery, like I said, to the top right. I'm using strong glue here. And what's great is the wires are already done. You don't have to deal with copper tape or anything like that. You literally just press that button. Here I'm adding foam tape so that the panel is going to be even with that battery. The foam tape I'm using is double thick, so it is going to be the same height as that battery, and it's going to allow you or the recipient to press the button easily. So I am taping down all the extra wires. I'm trying to avoid the open area of the stars and just add the tape behind the foiled stars. You can see I'm constantly checking to see if it works, and it definitely does. Once I have all the wires secure, I'm going to go ahead and add foam tape to the rest of the panel. Again, trying to make sure that I'm not going to cover those open stars. This one I rearranged. I wanted it to be higher up. And then I'll just go in and add the rest of my foam tape. It's going to look a little bit messy, but your recipient isn't going to see this. So I'm going to try to fill up as much of this as possible. Then I will remove all of the backing, and this tape is by Uline. I really like it because it's a good price, but it's very difficult to peel the backing off, so I have to use a little poke tool for that. And then I went ahead and glued it onto my 5 1/4 inch square card base. And then I have to add a push here text so that people know that this lights up. So I'm using the Lawn Fawn push here stamp set. And I'm using the little circle that says push here, and I'm going to stamp that right to the top right corner. I'm going to white heat emboss it. And then I also white heat embossed a sentiment from that Fairy Girl stamp set. I ended up re-stamping this on black cardstock and white heat embossing it just because it didn't really stand out against this foiled background. I do think it's pretty though if you want a subtle sentiment added, because you can still see it, it's just not very noticeable. So I'm going to go ahead and heat set all of that. I probably should have done this before adding the foam tape and the actual light up function, but it ended up being fine. All right, I guess now I'm taking off the backing, and then I will glue it onto my white card base. And then all I have to do is glue down my little fairy girl. I just love how she's looking up at the galaxy or the night sky, And that silver foil just adds the prettiest shine. I'm telling you guys, I really anticipate that foiling is going to blow up this year, if not next year. And if you're kind of considering buying a foil machine, I would. I didn't think I needed it. I thought I could just use my embossing powders, but the shine you get is completely different. Here I will tilt this card in the light so that you can see that foiled shine. I also added some Wink Stella to her wings to make them glittery, and then I will just show you guys how it looks like lit up. And that is going to complete my card today. Let me know what you guys think. There will be more light up cards coming by Scrappy Tails because this collection has that Midsummer Night's Dream theme. I encourage you guys to check out Amanda from Pear Blossom Press. She creates those amazing easy lights. Otherwise, all of the new items will be released on Friday, so stay tuned for that. I will have some more sneaks this week on YouTube and on Instagram, so definitely follow me there for more sneak peeks. All right, guys, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time. Bye.